So PhD was a byproduct of that Kida, if I were to kind of
Okay.
put it across, because the primary what do you call method in which doctoral thesis is kind of arrived at is that you do a lot of you do it for business purposes, but the process is same. The learnings is this. The learning of the process is the same, and in a way, it's complementing to each other.
True. So यहाँ पे we are whatever we are learning in the academics, it is easy to implement in the market strategies, right? So I think ऐसे हम एक credibility and trust develop करते हैं, and that's how the human becomes a good friend of the brand, and the brand becomes first the brand becomes the good friend of. How do you see this? The role of consumer research, market research, and analytics play in shaping the marketing strategy across writer corporations, diverse geographical region, because I know they are into like Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. So how this works?
Okay, so that's a very good question, Devleena. What happens is that market research as a tool for a marketer is a very potent tool to understand, first of all, the nuances which are very, very localized. So if you are a brand which is operating into multiple geographies, multiple catering to multiple personas, TGs across demographics.
Hi everyone, welcome to Icons Behind Brands. This is Devleena, your host, and I'm back with another very special guest with me today. Meet Dr. Prasun Acharyya, the VP and Head of Marketing and Digital Business at Writer Corporations. With over 20 years of experience in industries ranging from insurance to banking to FMCG and e-commerce, Dr. Acharya has a remarkable track record of launching and growing purpose-driven brands. So I'm excited to have Mr. Prasun here. A very warm welcome on Icons Behind Brand, Prasun.
Thank you, Devleena. Thank you for inviting me.
कहाँ से आपने start किया है? You have worked with various industry, and today, जहाँ पे you are a VP head of marketing and e-commerce at Writer Corporation. So how the journey looked like?
So I started my career with market research and advertising at Kantar IMRB. It was a university of market research and data analytics outside my college realms. So a lot of learnings, a lot of interesting projects. Basically, I switched over to the client side in the life insurance domain. Where the marketing, branding, and the insights, training which I had taken in my earlier stint was put to use. Then it was also the early years of many general insurance companies coming into India. So then I switched over to general insurance, was a part of one of the global brands which set shop in India at that point in time, Liberty Mutual. Was a part of the founding team there, established the brand and the operations in India. Then I moved on to a digital D2C general insurance company, which with an objective that organization had an objective of reaching directly to the consumers through various digital channels. So that is where serious digital disruption in the scheme of things started happening as far as my career was concerned. So from the conventional marketing to the digital D2C space and how it evolved was something which I learned on the job. And I was quite thankful for that particular stint because that kind of widened my horizon, and in a way that was a transition from what was happening conventionally as far as marketing is concerned to the digital side and the digital spectrum. After that, I spent some time in international IT services marketing, and my current assignment is with a conglomerate which is into various businesses, primarily mobility, relocation, IT, ITES, and cloud services, payments, as well as hospitality. So as a part of the corporate team, I head the marketing for the conglomerate across in India and abroad. So that in brief has been my journey.
Your
One of the
journey.
mantras which I usually kind of always like to share with people is that being in marketing for 2.5 decades, I have always sensed that it's a craft. It's
Yeah.
a mixture of the gut feel part of it and the mathematics part of it, which makes it combination and a confluence of art and science, which is a craft. So that in a nutshell has been my so-called learning.
I would love to know that you have studied in business management and marketing. Basically, you're a PhD in business management and marketing. तो आप how do you see this? Like आप अपने academics insights को along with the practical marketing strategies, how do you integrate both the academic side of it into the practical marketing strategies, particularly within this company, within this organization?
So PhD was a byproduct of that Kida, if I were to kind of
Okay.
put it across,
Mhm.
because the primary what do you call method in which doctoral thesis is kind of arrived at is that you do a lot of literature research. You figure out what are the
Okay.
gaps in the existing literature, and then pick up one of the elements where you would want to deep dive and add that single iota of additional insight through your research.
Mhm.
If you were to kind of look at how the PhD progression or a doctoral thesis progression happens, it actually kind of trains you into much more thorough researching, much more deeper insight, what do you call digging, so that those elements come out in open. Now,
Mhm.
this process is very much similar to what we see in our corporate life as well, because at the end of the day, whether it's a new campaign, new product, new geography where you really want to, kind of propagate your product or a go-to market, the essence of researching that, your competition, your consumer, in a thoughtful way, in a regimented way, and come out with those gaps and insights which would be helping successful launch or successful adoption of the product or the brand
Mhm.
very much resonates together.
Okay.
So
Both the sides.
the regimented process of research, data gathering,
Mhm.
evaluation, understanding insights, qualitative as well as quantitative, and then playing around with huge amount of data, that's invariably helps in the commercial as well as the corporate process, so to say. So
Okay.
it's very closely correlated. So दोनों में difference यही है कि एक आप academically follow करते हो, दूसरा you do it for business purposes, but the
Mhm.
process is same. The learnings is this, the learning of the process is the same, and in a way it's complementing to each other.
True. So यहाँ पे we are whatever we are learning in the academics, it is easy to implement in the market strategies, right? So Prasun, you have worked in the industries like insurance, जो अपने में ही एक it's a long term nature of life insurance products. So usually life insurance products are like 20 years, 25 years. So ऐसे scenario में how you build the consumer loyalty and consumer relationship, and also like I mean how you put your marketing effort so that this comes in place, which is one of the most important part of marketing.
Okay, so as far as the consumer perspective is concerned, it's important to understand that many of the products within the life insurance domains may sound slightly complex to a common consumer. So
True.
that's one part of it. Second part is uh, unlike many transactional category, life insurance branding and communication involves a lot of reinforcement and reassurance element that has to go into while planning the campaign. The third thing is, since this is a long-term product, a continuous association with the consumer once the product is already sold, the service is there, has to be established. And the fourth element is that how do we do this with the advent of new digital platforms which have happened. So it's a continuous improvement process, so to say, where these four levers have to be kept in mind while you are targeting a consumer for a life insurance product. Now, having said that, if the complexity, which is the first point, the complexity of the product through communication has to be eased out. So there has to be certain level of decocooning or the uncocooning of the complex product so that it is easily understood, and it is not
Mm-hmm.
only about the attributes of the product but how that attribute can lead to the benefit to the consumer.
Ah,
So when we talk
okay.
about the consumer communication process, there are four layers which usually any of
Mm-hmm.
the consumer communication expert would follow. uh, the layer is the attribute based communication, followed by the benefit based communication, value based communication, and the proposition based communication.
Mm-hmm.
So in life insurance, what I have kind of observed is successful communication and successful businesses are those who can combine the attribute and the benefit and easily explain it to the end consumer. So that is where the adoption really kind of accelerates as far as the consumer perspective is concerned. That's one part of it. The second
Mm-hmm.
part is, once the consumer has bought into your product, your brand narrative should reassure the consumer over and over again that
Okay.
he or she will be taken care of. So that narrative has to be established. So unlike many other category, in life insurance, branding and communication, what you stand for is also
Mm-hmm.
important, apart from whether people are aware about your brand or not. So it's a combination of not only
What are
saliency
the
of the brand but also the
values?
association. Yes, of course, the association which the brand has established in the consumer minds, the perception. uh,
Mm-hmm.
the the third element is about this continuous association at a service level, where the consumer sees you, hears you, and kind of also feels that okay, he or she is guided by the brand, with the changing
Okay.
dynamics and the nuances across his or her life stage, the changing situation in and around her, the new products which are getting launched, which may be helpful in his or her financial stability, so to say. The fourth element is, of course, this has been much spoken about, is with the advent of new communication platforms, more so the digital platforms. How do we effectively reach out to consumer on a regular basis so that these assurance which I spoke to you about in point 1, 2, and 3 are taken care of and communicated in a more impactful and a regular manner. So this more or less are the four triggers which I have understood while my stint in the life insurance domain works really well.
Mm-hmm. So here, especially in insurance domain, and also it goes to every other brand. The brand is kind of your best friend who takes care of you, who guides you, who also reassures you that I'm here with you. You whether check or not, but when you look back, I'm always here. तो आई थिंक ऐसे हम एक credibility and trust develop करते हैं, and that's how the human becomes a good friend of the brand, and the brand becomes first the brand becomes the good friend of the human. How do you see this? The role of consumer research, market research, and analytics play in shaping the marketing strategy across right of corporations, diverse geographical region, because I know they are into like Asia Pacific, Europe, Africa, and Middle East. So how this works?
Okay, so that's a very good question, Devleena. What happens is that market research as a tool for a marketer is a very potent tool to understand, first of all, the nuances which are very, very localized. So if you are a brand which is operating into multiple geographies, multiple catering to multiple personas, TGs across demographics, it's very important to understand the segment which you're trying to target in those geographies
Mm-hmm.
through those persona targeting and all. The consumer research or the market research helps as a tool, facilitates you to element is that it's a very, very potent tool for a marketer to understand at a very micro segment level, not only at a macro strata level. So that's one part of it. The second part is that through these researches, the insights which come in or the insights which are generated, they have a direct applicability in your marketing strategy, the go to market strategy as we call it.
Okay.
Because otherwise it becomes a simple gut feel kind of an exercise, that if it has worked in this part of the geography, it will work in the other part of the world
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. But
So it
sometimes
helps
it
you.
backfires then.
It does. So it, research analytics, they are a very potent tool to test your hypothesis, the null hypothesis as we call it, that okay,
Hmm.
if it has worked here, it will work there, so there is no differentiation. So this
Correct.
null hypothesis is always kind of tested whenever you have these research and insights coming out from various
Hmm.
geographies. So from that perspective, again, I would kind of reiterate, a very potent tool, which is consumer research, market research. It has evolved. There are many avatars, like which have really taken shape right now
Hmm.
in the concurrent scheme of things. Any marketer worth its salt should kind of utilize this tool to uh, uh, what you call fine tune the marketing strategy. Uh, Very specifically to the organization where I currently am working, and the assignments which are being handled. Uh, this is a organization which has its presence across various continents, and
Okay.
there are various products and services which are being offered across these continents. So you have
Hmm.
at one spectrum mobility and relocation, the other spectrum is IT, ITAS, automation, cloud services. Then you have payment services, you have hospitality, luxury brand services. So it's a diverse product and the services category, where we are dealing and appealing to very different cohorts, target segments across
True.
various geographies. So the complications are manifold. You have
Many
a straight, a layer of geography. You have a layer of different cohorts. You have a layer of different mindsets. You have
cultures.
different product category also. So it's a
Correct.
complex matrix in which the operations happen,
Okay.
and that is where these insights, these analytics helps us, simplify this complexity and make the most of the marketing initiatives, or if I were to say the marketing cloud, to drive successful product and services.
Especially if you are an Indian, you understand the range of diversity very well, and then you know how the world can also reciprocate towards this. So I feel being an
Absolutely,
Indian is an added advantage to understand the market's complexity.
absolutely, absolutely, bang on.
uh, there are very different things, like leadership itself teaches you a lot. I want to understand, how do you prioritize your leadership approaches in terms of values and principle? How do you influence, how this influences your decision making process, and how do you reciprocate the same thing to your team?
In my career, what I have really felt and observed is that there are two values which really kind of distinctly differentiates individuals from the crowd.
Hmm.
One is the element of diversity, in the sense that if um, uh, professionals are more inclusive, that
Okay.
brings in a very different league of dynamism in a team where, or the ecosystem where they operate, because it kind of offers or accommodates diverse viewpoint, diverse elements of creativity, diverse ideas, and that is what makes a team very vibrant and more creative and more innovative. So this
True.
inclusivity quotient is something which uh, I've seen in my career really distinct from ordinary to extraordinary, and I value
Hmm.
this a lot. In addition to that, the element which is something which everyone should embrace is the value of continuous learning, because
Hmm.
without that there is no way to go, because in the VUCA world the things are changing so fast. It is
Yes.
like we call it, that it's no longer constant. The only
Hmm.
constant is the change.
Correct.
The elements which were working for probably a decade ago, half a decade ago, are no longer valid, and there are new elements which have really come in as far as marketing, communication, targeting, channels, etc., are concerned. Channels of sales, etc., distribution channels are concerned, and hence the element of continuous learning is something which one really should imbibe, and that kind of distincts ordinary from an extraordinary. So just to kind of summarize it, it's the continuous learning element and the inclusivity element as a value, which I personally feel are a distinct differentiator from others.
Yeah, true. I think in an environment where you are included and you feel that you're seen, heard, I think that's a very good space to be in. And people just love to be there in that space. From here, we are moving towards a section called Rapid Fire Round, and it allows our viewers to know you as a person a little more. And the rules are you need to answer in one word or as minimum word as possible. So are we good to go?
Sure, sure.
Lovely. If you could have a dinner with any historical figure, what would it be?
But I think I'll prefer or really look forward to a dinner with Leonardo da Vinci, because
Oh,
the diverse spectrum of association which he as an individual had across sciences,
mhm.
creativity, engineering, etc. That is very hard to find.
So what's the last book you read, Dr. Prasun?
The last one was, I think, the Carbon Almanac by Seth Godin. It is more about green world and how the carbon footprints can be, reduced. And there are
Oh,
certain resources and certain
okay.
suggestions given in that book.
What's that one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
So many people are not aware. I am very strongly associated on a pro bono basis with an NGO which kind of is involved with skill development in semi-rural areas for
Okay.
college-going and school-going
Mm-hmm.
kids. It's a
Mm-hmm.
voluntary association where we train these kids to make them job ready with the
Okay.
concurrent
Okay.
skills like digital
Wow.
marketing,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and such, and then communication and all. So that is something which not many people are aware of. So that's a very uh,
I
hidden
think
thing which people may
that's,
be surprised to know.
yeah, that's lovely, Prasun. What's that one thing that is still there in your bucket list?
So currently, the assignment where the organization where I am working, there are a couple of repositioning project and relaunch project across various business domains, which I am, kind of very uh, directly involved with. So in my
Okay.
immediate bucket list, I would want to, complete them so that that transition of the brand, the repositioning of the brand
Awesome.
happens, and
Mhm.
successfully happens. So that's playing in my mind in
So, what's your favorite hobby outside your work?
so as I said, this particular NGO association is something which has been taking a lot of my time in recent past
Mhm.
outside my work. So I would like to classify this as my recent hobby, in the sense, contributing back to the society where it matters, and see the fruits of the labor, be of some positive outcome. So,
True. True. What's the best piece of advice you have ever received?
uh, the best one till date by one of my mentor was, embrace uncertainty, because the way things are moving in the entire scheme of things, it's no longer you're no longer safe in your comfort zone. You One has
True.
to really reach out to the new horizons, be experimental in nature. So in a way, embracing uncertainty is the best advice which in recent times I have kind of received.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
An ability to increase the empathy quotient in others,
Okay.
because what I strongly feel is that if empathy quotient is higher amongst all of us, we probably will, kind of be more considerate and be more collaborative,
Great.
more, evolutionary as a society. So I think that one superpower would be more beneficial if I were to have as for the society as a whole.
Lovely. What's your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
Not on a daily basis, but I am a great history freak, and whenever I have time,
Oh,
I go for these historical tours,
okay.
uh, which are more of an heritage kind of a tour,
Mhm.
or a heritage walk, or a history tour in and around India. So that has been one of my passion, which I have been very actively pursuing for quite some time now. So that is the only elixir for me to unwind.
So with this, we are out of the rapid fire round. And before we wind up this conversation, Prasun, we want you to talk for our aspiring marketing leaders. What is your advice for an aspiring marketing leader on their way up?
So I've in recent time I have worked with and I have interacted with a lot many young marketing leaders, and find them to be well equipped and very well talented. So I don't know whether they'll require advice or not, but as a colleague who has spent a little bit more years in the ecosystem, I would suggest that one is, of course, they should embrace data literacy more seriously, because
Mm-hmm.
uh, driving decisions through data is becoming more and more potent tool and more relevant. The second part is more to do with cultivating an emotional intelligence quotient, because at the end of the day, marketing is all about human behavior, interacting with human, either through digital platform or direct, or whatever way it is. So if this particular piece is cultivated, it's easier to understand the dynamics of decision making which a consumer has in his or her mind, and it will become a very worthy tool and a worthy way to do successful campaigns and launches.
So yes, I think that's a wonderful way to look the things, up to, and that's a wonderful way to wind up this conversation as well. Prasun, we have covered quite a lot in last 30, 40 minutes of conversation. And, it was enriching experience, and it was very insightful for me, and I'm sure it is going to be very insightful for our viewers as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for accepting this invitation on a Saturday afternoon, Prasun.
Thank you so much. It was pleasure interacting with you, Devleena. Thank you.
Same here. I'm sure कि आपको ये वीडियो बहुत ही insightful and informative लगा होगा. Let us know in the comment section which part of the video you loved the most. हम ऐसे ही इंडिया के top business brand secrets आपके पास लाते रहते हैं. Please do not forget to subscribe our channel Icons Behind Brands. And that's all for today. I am Devleena Neogi signing off until next time.